Yeah, what's happening? What's up? Blah, 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 blah. Happy Friday. What's happening? Good to see you back on another episode of Starlight Beacon. It has been a while since I did this show. I keep hitting my mic. What in the world? Anyways, it's been a while since I've done this show because we haven't had much news to talk about or anything Star Wars related in a while until today. Or yesterday, that is, because that's when the news dropped. It was officially announced that Aspyr Games is making a KOTOR remake. Oh man, we talked about this back in April 25th, I believe. April 25th. That was when that episode that I did on the channel regarding the rumor that Aspyr Studios was developing a KOTOR game. Now it has been confirmed. It's been officially made official by Sony and Aspyr Games at their State of Play. I believe it was the Sony State of Play. So yeah, we're gonna get into all of that. That boy Steve, I'm not sure why the comments are not popping up in the stream here, but I do see you, my man. Appreciate you for joining. Yeah, man. But how's everybody doing? It's Friday, man. How y'all doing? How y'all doing out there? I know I'm hyped, but I'm also a little tired, but I'm definitely excited to talk about this KOTOR thing because they made some pretty big announcements regarding this remake. And you know, back in April 25th, when I did the first video, I had a top 5, and although they didn't confirm specifically what they were doing, they did sort of confirm some things that make me feel like maybe several of my top 5 items will actually be fulfilled in this. So without further ado, let me pull up this article real quick. This is on PCGameSeason.com, and also to everyone, it was announced that this will be a PS5, not exclusive, but it will launch on the PlayStation 5. And that is somewhat true, not entirely. A little misleading. It will launch first on PlayStation 5, and then it will later be launched on Xbox, the Xbox Series X. It will be a delayed release. Similar to what they did with the first Destiny game. I know that was delayed for Xbox for a few months, maybe a month. But you know, that's what they do, the whole console war thing. Sony will get exclusive rights to a multi-platform AAA title, and they will have that exclusivity for a set period of time before it releases to the other console, and vice versa. However, 9 times out of 10, for all my PC players out there, you will also have access to this game. You will also be able to play this game when it launches for the PlayStation 5. So don't worry, it is coming. It was not plainly stated in the release yesterday, but I can confirm that it is coming to PC at the same time it does for PlayStation 5. So good news for me, because that's probably what I'll be playing it on. Daniel Fisher, happy Friday. Thank you for joining, my man. Yeah, so this is cool. So anyway, got that cleared out. So yes, You will be able to play it on Series X if you have the Xbox. If you have it on PlayStation and PC, you will be able to play it first. Yeah. So don't worry. You'll be able to get your hands on this. But they did announce that it will be they will remake it. It will be entirely, they're overhauling the game from scratch. So that means they're changing a lot, which is something that we talked about in April. But let me get the direct quote. I started reading the line. You'll see. Our hope, that's why I said, anyway, our hope is to give both series newcomers and long-term fans an experience that can live alongside the very best modern releases. We are rebuilding it from the ground up with the latest tech to match the groundbreaking standard of innovation established by the original, all the while staying true to its revered story. So, boom, there you have it. They said a lot without saying anything. So this is where we're going to kind of speculate about what's happening here. Let me pull up my top 5 because let's rehash that from that April 25th video, just in case you didn't see that video. If you didn't, go back and watch it. Anyway, where am I? Okay, I'm good on time. My KOTOR remake wish list. Number 1 was a upgraded combat system. I'm pretty sure we can check that off the list. I am like a 99.9% sure we're getting a brand new combat system, because there's no way you're going to completely overhaul the game without updating the combat system, because the combat system by today's standard is not going to sell to a new audience at all, because no one plays that point click RPG, old school, old fashioned RPG style combat these days. So you're not going to appeal to a younger audience, which I know is a priority for Disney and Lucasfilm. They want a vibrant young audience to get into Star Wars, and they want to captivate as many of those young players and those Fortnite players and whatever else, Call of Duty, probably not Call of Duty, well, Call of Duty gamers in these newer, younger generations that play video games these days, and they grew up with a different type of video game experience than we did. When I say we, I mean us 90s babies and everyone else who's played video games all the way back to, what was it, the 80s? Technically, when did Atari come out? I don't know, whatever. Every generation's had a different experience with video games, and this is no different. So it makes complete sense that they upgrade the combat system. I'm all for this, because while I enjoyed the combat system of the original game when it was released, it is very not enjoyable today because it's so outdated and it's just not working. Number 2 on my wish list was a fully voiced dialogue. So basically, think about any RPG game these days. If you have dialogue that is the player dialogue as well as NPC dialogue, it's all voiced today. And so KOTOR, the original, the player, your character was not voiced. I want them to be voiced now. It's far more immersive. It's a far more enjoyable experience as an RPG when you hear the character speak the lines that you select. So I'm hoping that in that overhaul, a fully voiced dialogue system is in effect. And there is a voice for Revan, which they used in SWTOR, because the character does make an appearance in that game and he is voiced. So hopefully Revan will be a fully voiced character in the game, similar to how Cal Kestis was, even though you don't select any dialogue or lines of dialogue for Cal. His character is voiced, and it just makes it far more immersive and enjoyable. And think about like games like Mass Effect or The Witcher or what have you, where you can select dialogue. If you get into that RPG mindset where you're literally just trying to immerse yourself into this gameplay experience, having that voice dialogue when you select it and hearing the character speak what you just chose makes, adds that much more realism and immersion to the game. So I think that's a must, and that was why that was my number 2, because these are, in my opinion, those are the low-hanging fruit. Those are the most obvious things. And then number 3 on my list was an exploration reward system. Find some way to make it rewarding for players to explore the world around them, not just by completing quests, but also by doing things like finding lore items, getting certain cosmetic upgrades when you go and explore different areas of the map. Chests, things of that nature in game that you can look for and find, pick up, and be rewarded, similar to what Fallen Order did. Like, there are different, instead of having a paid loot box system, you basically just explore to find the cosmetic items that you want for your character, for your ship, for your companions, things of that nature. Like, there should be items hidden on different planets that are in line with the I guess the world. There's a better way to phrase that. More in line with the culture of the region of the planet that you're exploring. For instance, when you're on Kashyyyk in Fallen Order, they've got these rainforest ponchos that you can find, and there's a green jumpsuit that you can find to put Cal in. Things of that nature. That makes the game, that's a reward system for exploration. It's not necessary, but it makes it more enjoyable for the players to go out and explore and find things. Also, the data pads and things like that kind of give you a backstory and let you learn about the lore of the time period and the era. The Mandalorian Wars, for example, happened in this time period. So things like that. That was in KOTOR 1. Like, but there were mission items. I'm talking about, like, in addition to those mission items, having other things to do so that you learn more about the time period and the era, and the characters that you're dealing with are great. I loved also the aspect of certain planets triggered certain conversations and certain lines of dialogue between you and the companions. They definitely need to keep that and upgrade it. You see the chat's jumping now. That boy Steve says, sorry if I repeated anything you said already. Wi-Fi acting choppy, but yeah, KOTOR is a timed exclusive. Absolutely, 100%. Vader's Lair, what's happening? What's up? Hey, yo, make sure you go subscribe to Vader's Lair on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, definitely go check my man's out. My question is, this coming from that boy Steve, if this KOTOR is canon, how do you think they'll go with choices and such? I'm going to get into that, because that's another thing that I'm definitely going to speculate about. And there's no way they're going to do this, to answer your part of your question, without making this canon. They're not going to put this much money into an overhaul of and revamping the entire game if they're not going to make it canon. So I'll answer that part for now, and I'll get back to the other part of your question later. Now, my number 4 is that there should be more NPCs, non-playable characters, in the world, on the planets. Make this feel, the environments feel more lively, more vibrant. The cities should feel like cities. You don't have to get into like a GTA level of realism where all the characters are voiced and they interact with the world around them, but have enough characters in the world to make it feel like it's lived in, and there are things happening and going on, and they're going about their daily lives. Having characters, groups of characters, numbers of characters going to and from locations, there being players and characters outside of their homes and areas of that nature. It just makes it feel a lot more real. Like it should be more characters in the game besides the characters or the NPCs that you have to kill. That was an issue I had with Fallen Order, and it's a minor issue because the game is really good. Same with KOTOR, wasn't that big of a deal when the game came out, but in hindsight, as you're critiquing it, you realize that NPCs in the world would make it feel a whole lot more real and more lived in. So that's definitely something that they need to add to this game once it's, for the remake. And then finally, the last thing on my list was planetary and auxiliary quests. And what I mean by that, we have our main quest line for the story. That's the story quest line. It would be nice to have a planetary quest line where you have planet specific quest items and quest to do, which are completely optional. They would be optional, but they will grant you more XP, more armor, weapons, and other items that you need for the game to make your character better, to upgrade your character, and things like that. Also, auxiliary quests, things that are daily quests, things that you can repeat. Maybe not have the game end the same way it did in the original. Maybe have it left more open-ended where you can go back and explore and go back and do other things on the planet if you want to. Things like that. I would appreciate, I think most players would appreciate if you could go back and do some more exploring on the planets, on the worlds, do some more quests, have some daily activities that you can do to continue to play with the character after you finish the main story. The Lonely Banner, what's happening? Okay, so let's get into that. Canon choices. So that is something I'm curious about because so before we even get into that, the upgraded combat system is something that we should talk about first, because I think that's going to dictate the choice items. And something in the article that they highlighted was, let me get the quote again. Staying true to the revered story. What does that really mean? Does that mean we're still going to have choice dialogue, or is this going to be set dialogue like Fallen Order was, where you don't get to choose the dialogue, but it's still RPG in the fact that you play through the story and things happen. I don't know how true to the original revered story you can do without having choice dialogue. So that makes it interesting as far as the canon aspect, right? Because if you got choice dialogue, like how are you going to make how is it that this game can be canon? Well, simple. What they did in Legends was that there was a canon outcome to the game, but it didn't necessarily mean that was what you had to do in the game. Like, so in other words, you can still have a set number of choices that you would select for the canon outcome, but you can also do your own thing. Doesn't necessarily matter. However, understand when it comes to this game, the choices that you make matter in regards to being true to what they will consider, and they being Lucasfilm and Disney, what they'll consider canon moving forward. So they can still make the game canon and the events by having options that maybe are highlighted for the canon choices, that if you want to follow the true to story, you can select those options, or you can do your own thing, and they'll be they won't be highlighted, but you can still pick them, something like that. I don't know, but I think that's how you work around that. Like you just have a set story that is the canon outcome, and then even still, like some of the minor details, like each mission, each dialogue item doesn't necessarily have to be canon, because it's not necessarily how we consider canon. It's the events and how they transpire and what the ultimate outcome is that is canon. So if there's a redemption arc, if they follow the same, pattern from or the original story, then we have a Revenant redemption arc at the end, where he is redeemed. That can be the canon outcome. However, as a player, you can still go back and do the dark side thing, because that is also a very important aspect of this game. Light side, dark side choices. The ability to choose the light side or dark side option or outcome during a quest line is very key. That was why the game was so successful. One of the reasons why it was so successful, because it was a Star Wars journey that allowed the players to determine the outcome, and the choices you made impacted the story, and thus inevitably changed the outcome into whatever you wanted based on those several outcome or several dialogue options that you had to choose from during key quest moments. So all of that stuff is all of that's important. That's how I can see them maintaining that, but also allowing the game to be canon. You're given this flexibility, and you can also do the same thing with character customization. That's what they did in Legends. Like, there was Revan had an actual appearance. He was supposed to look a certain way. Like, we knew that the canonical version of Lanakin that's funny, Lanakin, of Revan was basically this white male with long hair, and he had scars on his face, and that was an actual option in the character customization that you could choose from. However, you had other options, so you could still make the character look how you want it to. You could change the gender to whatever you want it to be, but now you're not doing a canon story, which is fine. Don't make a big deal out of it. Just have the canonical version already laid out, but still let the players do what they want to do. Problem solved. Best of both worlds. Star Wars MCU OG was happening. So yeah, that answers that question. Now, what else there were some other things that I think I needed to discuss in regards to this topic. Let me know, drop some questions or what have you. Oh, do y'all want to see the teaser trailer? Put a 1 in the chat if you want to see the teaser, because I can play that too. Combat. This is something I want to go back to. Combat style. So when they say they're going to completely, rebuild the game from the ground up, part of what that means is, they're not going to create a brand new combat system for the game. They're probably going to more than likely borrow from something that we are familiar with, i.e. The Witcher. This game is going to be a direct action combat system. So basically, you are in complete control of the character movement, motion, and actions on screen, similar to like Fallen Order. You need to duck, dodge, roll. All of that will be mapped to buttons on the controller, player movement, looking around, and all that stuff mapped to the controller, and all that stuff. But if you think about games like The Witcher or The Division, where they've got loadouts and things of that nature that you can change and upgrade while in the middle of combat, because that was a important aspect of the combat system for KOTOR, was you can change what powers and abilities that your character has equipped. You can still maintain that, but the combat wheel is something I'm thinking that they'll probably move to where, there's a key command, that will pull up an ability wheel where you can select what force abilities you want on your toolbar, and then what lightsaber or blaster combat button or power abilities you want to equip onto the toolbar as well, and then those will map to your controller or your keyboard. And PC will probably be a little bit different. Like, I mean, PC will probably be significantly different as far as how things are mapped, because we've got more buttons to press. So, yep, that's something. That boy Steve with another question. That's what's up. Different game, but the developers of the upcoming GOTG, Guardians of the Galaxy game. Okay, I had to figure out what acronym that was. Said the game would have choices, but the game still has a single ending. I think KOTOR could take that same approach. I don't think it can have a single ending. Well, depends on what you define a single ending, because the KOTOR, the light side and dark side endings were very different. The dark side ending was Revan taking back control of the Sith fleet and waging war against the Republic. But he had, even at the end of it, he had even more forces and more support from other beings that you encounter across the galaxy. And the light side ending is the destruction of the Starforge. No, you take control of the Starforge, build your own fleet, and you wage war against the entire galaxy. I think that's what the dark side ending was. And the light side ending is, of course, you destroy the Starforge. Malik is defeated, and the remaining Sith forces are sent retreating. They're sent packing out into the galaxy, and Revan then pursues them into space, and that's where we lose contact with Revan until we see him again in Star Wars: The Old Republic, where we find out what he did and what happened to him after those events. Another big thing, being that this is likely to be canon, they're going to more than likely, I believe, change the time period that this takes place. It will still be in the Old Republic, but I don't think it's going to be 4,000 years, 4,000 BBY or before the Battle of Yavin. It's not going to be that far back, because the High Republic is 200 years, 200 BBY, or is it 200 years before the prequels? I can't remember. It's 200 something. Either or. I mean, it's like a 30, 40 year difference. So it's either going to be 240 BBY or 200 BBY. Regardless, I think that this story will take place, I don't know, maybe 15 or maybe 2,000 years BBY, maybe 1,000 years BBY, but I don't think it can be more than or less than 1,000 BBY, because it would be weird. Yoda can't be alive during this time period, basically. So that's why I'm thinking like 1,000 years is probably the safe bet. 2,000 years might be more, somewhere in that 1,000 to 2,000 years instead of the 4,000 of the original game. I'm anticipating that they're going to change the timeline in that regard, but it will still be in the Old Republic. However, what point in that, is this the height of the Old Republic, or is this the beginning of the Old Republic? Who knows? I don't know. Can't tell from this point. But I think that something key and something important to remember is that it could be something like, hold on, let me see. Something. It could be who knows? The Mandalorian War still has to happen. That's still got to be a key aspect of the story. That's what that is what preceded the events of the game. So I'm going to assume that that's still a thing that happened right before this. But how early on in the Old Republic history did the Mandalorian Wars take place? And then what happened before. I believe that they're currently working with a 35,000 year timeline. So, you know, how old and how long did the Old Republic last? They've got a lot of room to play with. Let me see. Make sure this thing is looking good. Okay, yeah, we still are. All right. So, I don't know who all still are we. Do I still have people watching, or am I just talking to myself? Because I see one viewer. Oh man. Um. But yeah, I was gonna see if anybody wanted me to play. I'd ask. Nobody responded. So, do you want me to play? If you're still watching the teaser trailer again, it's not really much. It's like a minute, if that. For the game, yes, a minute 6 seconds. But it definitely throw some ones in the chat. Let me know. I can pull that up. I've got it on standby. Otherwise, I think that's pretty much all I needed to cover in regards to this topic, man. It's very exciting. I'm glad that we're getting into some Old Republic stuff because, the Old Republic is my favorite era in Star Wars. Easily, if you can't tell. Just look at my Star Wars content on the channel. It a lot of it does stay within the Old Republic. Daniel Fisher says, I'm digesting and wait a second, I can't read that. I'm digesting and thinking things out still. As long as they have the character angle on lock and improve some of your points, I will likely get it. Yeah. I think you will. I don't know if you've played Fallen Order or a game like The Division or The Witcher, but I'm speculating, I'm anticipating that the majority of the gameplay will mimic that combat style, the combat style from those games. It'll be something in that vein, maybe even Mass Effect, where it's less so. It's not going to be turn-based. It's not going to be point and click. You're not going to be standing right in front of the enemy at a distance and slashing. Like, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be more action oriented, more engaged than that more passive system of old. That's just not something you see in a lot of games these days. And if they're going to completely overhaul, that's definitely something that they'll need to overhaul if they're going to appeal to the younger gaming audience of today, the Fortnite players and what have you. So I'm pretty sure that all of that, the aiming, all of the issues, how clunky it was, all that's going to be upgraded, and it's going to be something a lot easier to manipulate for most people, because they're going to want to appeal to as many game players as possible and to as many different play styles as possible, while still maintaining that RPG choice driven gameplay that we know and love. And they're not going to change the story too drastically. I think the major thing will probably be the time, how far it is from the prequels or the original trilogy. I think that will be shortened. But overall, most of that story should be able to stay intact. It's far enough removed that it should be able to do that. Something that it's not really confirmed, but something that I talked about before about with the Knights of the Republic and with Revan, his redemption arc. I have stated that I'd be okay with them changing the redemption arc because I like that Anakin being the first Jedi to fall to the dark side and then be redeemed. I like that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's necessarily the only instance. Like, I think you can have examples of it happening, but maybe the Jedi Order never knew. You know what I'm saying? So it was never documented. Like, the last they saw this character, the last deed, as far as they were concerned, was him falling to the dark side and then committing a bunch of atrocities. And then, you know, at the end, they have no idea what happened to him. I can see stories like I would like maybe Revan's fate be unclear, possibly to the Order, not to the gamer. We would know what happened, but maybe the rest of the Order wouldn't. Maybe that would be a secret or something like that. I don't know. So yeah, I'm that's all I got though, but I can close out with the teaser trailer because I do kind of want to see it. So let's do that. Cue that up. Let's transition to that screen. You want is this cool? So I can adjust this. Let's do something like that. I'm adjusting it. You can't see it yet. I'm tweaking it. All right, here we go. Let's do that. Let's do something like that. All right, go to play it, and I'm gonna. Well, I don't know. Can I mute my mic and still play? I hope the audio comes through. Yeah. Oh man. That music, man. I just love it. That so it's so I don't know. Did y'all hear that? Please, I hope y'all I hope you guys heard that. That would be terrible if you didn't. Let me know, because if you didn't, actually I don't even know if I can fix that. But anyways, let's go back over here. Transition out. Anyway, I'll actually, you know what? I can just drop a link just in case if you want to watch it here. Wait a second. Let me go back. There's a link. Send it. Anyway, thank you all for joining me tonight. It's been fun. I always love talking about Star Wars when there's Star Wars news to actually talk about. So, you know, I know it's just a slow time period news wise because of everything we got going on. Boba Fett's coming at the end of the year. We got Visions, which I'm actually really looking forward to. I'm excited about that. Coming at the end of the month, as a matter of fact, September 22nd, and I believe that they're going to release every single episode, but I will do a episode review every week on the channel. So do tune in to that if you want to hear my take and my opinion on each episode in chronological order of release. I'm going to do that. So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Visions. Can't wait to watch that. And then, so definitely tune in. Make sure you're watching next week, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the channel. The Cookout, the main show, the flagship. We're going to be talking about Shang-Chi because I will have seen it by then. And maybe I think we'll talk about the Matrix a little bit too, but definitely Shang-Chi. That'll be the main course for Tuesday. Video gameplay streams coming. Of course, I might hop on and play something tonight. As a matter of fact, I don't know what I want to play. But I would definitely be playing something. I might hop on Space Engineers. I might hop on SWTOR. Yeah, I'm gonna do SWTOR because I'm in a Star Wars mood right now. I've got a character that I can hop in and play. So if you got Twitch, make sure you follow us on Certified Gumbo. And if you're subscribed on YouTube, I will be streaming to YouTube as well, so you don't have to worry. If you want to watch me play SWTOR tonight at 9:00 around about, then definitely tune in. Anyways, thank you all. What else do I got? Yeah, tune in all weekend. I'll be playing from Friday to Monday, all times during the day. So make sure you hit that bell icon so you get a notification when I go live. Thank you all. And as I always say, peace, love, blessings, and may the force be with you always. And for those of you who want to watch me play video games, I'll see you at 9. Peace.